Hi guys, and happy Easter. This is Abby, the Draconian Tarot Witch. I'm going to do a reading on Laura Ann Aime. She was the most recent identified victim of Ted Bundy. This came about a couple of days ago. They're still finding Ted Bundy's victims to this day, and he got executed, I believe, in the early 1990s, Early 1990s, late 1980s. But he was a very nice person. Alright, so today we're going to use the Manga Tarot, Mystic Tarot, Patricia James Tarot, and the Dragon Tarot. Sorry, I don't really have my address, but I'm still working on the channel, and it's a little bit on the warm side for that red dress, so yeah, but I will be going into the theatrics, so yay! But this was a spare the moment thing, so I apologise to those who were hoping for some theatrics. Alright. What can you tell me about Laura Ann Aime? What can you tell me about Laura Ann Aime, the last identified victim of Ted Bundy? What can you tell me about Laura Ann Aime, the last victim of Theodore Robert Bundy? I have not really done any card readings whatsoever, privately or online, regarding Ted Bundy. But I am a bit of a criminal history nut, so yay! I really do want to check the Ripper, that's a bit of an old one. I will be doing personal readings as well, but I'm just trying to get things all sorted at the moment. Alright, what can you tell me about Laura Ann Aime? Yeah, this girl was found in she went to disappear, I think in 1974. I could be wrong, so if I'm wrong, don't kill me. But she got abducted on her way home from a Halloween party. For the longest time, they did not know whether Ted Bundy was involved with it. So they did not quite sure whether Laura Ann Aime was a victim of Ted Bundy's, because they're still trying to find his victims. It's still an open case, even though Ted Bundy has been executed. Alright, what can you tell me about Laura Ann Aime? What can you tell me about Laura Ann Aime? What can you tell me about Laura Ann Aime? What can you tell me about Laura Ann Aime? What can you tell me about Laura Ann Aime? What can you tell me about Laura Ann Aime? So for those of you who don't know who Ted Bundy is, like I said, he was a serial killer. He targeted women with long brown hair, parted in the middle, because he was kind of peeved off his ex-girlfriend who dumped him. And he decided to become a lawyer. And he was actually the first case that they said that through the idea and notions of the serial killer right on the head. What can you tell me about Laura Ann Aime? What can you tell me about Laura Ann Annie? What can you tell me about Laura Ann Annie? What can you tell me about Laura Ann Annie? What can you tell me about Laura Ann Annie? What can you tell me about Laura Ann Annie? Yeah, because Ted Bundy was executed for the murder of Kimberly Each, and she was a little schoolgirl. People mistaken her for a child gone with his father, or with her father, but it wasn't. It was an abduction. What can you tell me about Laura Ann Annie? Yeah, what this guy did was not very nice. He even killed a whole heap of co-ed girls in the dormitory while they were sleeping. Because he went from, I think he went from Colorado all the way down to Florida. And also, Ted Bundy was also one of the inspirations for Buffalo Bill in Silence of the Lambs. When you have that scene in that film Buffalo Bill, not Buffalo Bill, Silence of the Lambs, where Buffalo Bill pretended that his arm was broken, that's what Ted Bundy did to his victims. He would pretend that his arm's broken and needs help with a canoe, and people with the goodness of heart will go and help him, and that would be the last time that anyone would see them. Can you tell me about Laura Ann Annie? What can you tell me about Laura Ann Annie? What can you tell me about Laura Ann Annie? What can you tell me about Laura Ann Annie? What can you tell me about Laura Ann Annie? Right. Let's see what we got. Alright. Let's put everything down. We've got the Queen of what? Queen of Coins. The Ace of Coins. The Six of Cups, which is in reverse, so that's the way it's supposed to be. But it's ended up like that. And Seven of Cups. And that was upright. For some reason, when I say Seven of Cups with this particular thing, I don't know if you know your anime, he kind of reminds me a little bit of, what's his name? Not Grail. Will. I can't remember his last name, but his name is Will. And Will was a Grim Reaper. But, you know, that's just the character. So to me, by the looks of it, she had a lot of hopes, she had a lot of dreams. And I feel like she wanted children. At the time of her death, she wanted kids, but she never made it back. She never had a life. But there was a lot of calculations with her abduction. So this wasn't like off the, spare of the moment. This was calculated. When Bundy took her, he calculated this. Because I see the eight of coins, and the person seems to be very, how would you say, meticulous. Being very aware of what's going on, making sure that every detail is correct. So I think he's very astute. We deal with Ted Bundy, he's very astute. But this was not the spare of the moment. The thing I got, it just said in my head, was at peace, at peace. I think she's at peace, which is good, because no one wants to go the way Ted Bundy killed his victims. But I think she was for a very long time, was in turmoil. Things were in turmoil. And she wanted peace. And I think, Bundy had options to dealing with whatever things he was doing. But the thing I got a feeling with is a collector. He was a collector. And for another thing, what's quite interesting as well, there is a girl in one of the cups. Don't know if you can see it, but, there's a girl who seemed to be unconscious. And I think this probably dealing with the aspects of everything. Because you also got a snake in there along with a dragon. And to me, like, a snake is someone you don't trust. And I think with her, when she went with Ted Bundy, she trusted him. But he was a snake in the grass. That he was young, good looking, and he always had a plan. And the thing what I get with this card as well, what just came in my head, is I'm in charge. And this is Ted Bundy, not Laura. I go, I'm in charge, you do what I want to do. Well, that's where I got the Mr. Chrome deck. Spotlight. Terror. Corruption. Evidence. I think with this is actually self-explanatory of what was just recently has occurred. That there's a big spotlight on Laura's case. Like, especially now with DNA evidence. And I think at the time, she was in terror. And it wasn't just her in terror, it was society, because girls were going missing. And I know there's word here says pan, but that wasn't what I just got, was pain. She was in a lot of pain. But it was not a good way for her to go. She was in a lot of pain when she left. I mean, when she went on. And also there was a lot of on here dealing with they got their corruption. I don't really feel the case itself is corrupted. But I also got things like, say, in the shadows. Man behind the mask. And that's pretty true when it comes to Ted Bundy. A lot of people thought he was harmless. He was, innocent. And that's how come he escaped through a library window. Was because everyone thought he was innocent and he can look up legal things for his case. But instead he jumped out the window. He was the man behind the mask. She was terrified of the man behind the mask. And now that there's evidence, there's physical evidence to connect Bundy to Laura. And it's indisputed. So now the spotlight's not only on her case, but it's a spotlight on Bundy. Now let's see what we've got in the dragons. We got the 7 of Cups. So that's come up twice. We got the Star. We've got the Knight of Wands in reverse. That's the way it's supposed to be. That's the way it came out. Like this, yep. And the Nine of Swords in reverse. Supposed to be that way. Came out that way. Yeah, they look pretty much the same. So once again, he had a lot of options. He had a lot of choices. And to me, with the Star card, usually it's the yes card, it confirms everything. But also get satisfaction from it as well. And I think Laura is satisfied that her cases can finally be put to rest. Same as relief. I also got the feeling of relief. That she's feeling very relieved. That now there's answers. And I think that's also to do with her family as well. The family have got relief. Because I think she was 18 when she passed. And her sister was 12 years old. And usually the Knight of Wands is someone who is, going into battle, very brave, going into full fight. But I think what I was keep getting around was coward. I'm not talking about Laura, I'm talking about Bundy. And I just got the word, the sun is setting on Bundy. That's what I just got. Sun is setting on Bundy. Even though he's well and truly, he's also gone because he's been executed. And I think when this crime first occurred, she trusted him. She trusted him, she thought that he was harmless. And then her world got flipped upside down. It went very quick. But when she realised something was wrong, it was too late. Because to me, like I see the land, and the thing has been flipped. There's a couple of cards where it's flipped, that the land is flipped. And to me that means that her world flipped. She had hopes, she had dreams, there was things she wanted to do. Then Bundy came along and destroyed all of it. Alright, let's see what we got for the next one. We got fight, connect argument. Distraction, not as it seems. Aggressive attack. And a web of lies. And to me, this is pretty much on the crime itself to do with Laura. That when she was taken in the car, that there was an argument. Bundy and Laura were going at each other. Arguing, yelling. Like he's trying to show dominance. So there was a conflict. Laura did not win down with a fight. She fought. She fought Bundy. She fought everything, but it wasn't enough. And I think Bundy, he tricked her. Because it says, distraction, not as it seems. I wouldn't put it past her if she was one of the victims of Ted Bundy, that Ted Bundy was going around with a cast on his arm. Or he was doing something like that. Look at me, I am defenseless. I can't harm you, my arm's broken. And he has abducted many women this way. That's how he got her in the car. I think he drove up next to her. And she saw his arm in the cast. And she thought, he's not going to harm me. His arm's in a cast. And he's giving me a lift home. But it was not as it seems. And pretty much right after that, once they were secluded, he attacked her. And it was a vicious attack. And to me, for some reason, that's Bundy. That's what I'm feeling. This is Bundy. Like, it was very, very aggressive. She went through hell. And then after the fact, Bundy went and told a whole heap of lies. Like, I'm not sure whether this case was one of the cases he tried to use to prolong his life. But the truth isn't known. The only people who knew was Bundy and Laura. But like I said, it was a very vicious attack what she went through. Alright. What's over there? Right. Let's do one. Regarding Bundy. What can you tell me about Ted Bundy regarding this case? What can you tell me about Ted Bundy regarding Laura? What can you tell me about Ted Bundy regarding Laura? Now that card really wants to come out. What can you tell me about Ted Bundy regarding Laura? What can you tell me about Ted Bundy regarding Laura? What can you tell me about Ted Bundy regarding Laura? What can you tell me about Ted Bundy regarding Laura? What can you tell me about Ted Bundy regarding Laura? What can you tell me about Ted Bundy regarding Laura? What can you tell me about Ted Bundy regarding Laura? What can you tell me about Ted Bundy regarding Laura? What can you tell me about Ted Bundy regarding Laura? Tell me what you can tell me. Tell me about Ted Bundy regarding Laura. Tell me what you could tell me about Ted Bundy regarding Laura. Tell me what you can tell me regarding Ted Bundy. Tell me what you can tell me about Ted Bundy regarding Laura. 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 Tell me what you could tell me about Ted Bundy regarding Laura. Tell me about Ted Bundy regarding Laura. Tell me about Ted Bundy regarding Laura. That card just doesn't want to stay in, so that has to come out. Tell me about Ted Bundy regarding Laura. 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 Okay. Oops. Alright, let's see what we got. You got the Wheel of Fortune. The Hangman. The Five of Swords in reverse. And that's the way it's supposed to be. The Star the Star in reverse. So it's that way rather than that way. To me, because like there's a snake, a snake going around the wheel, and then around the girl. So to me, I wouldn't put it past that he was on the prowl that night. That he was searching. He was going canvassing the area, looking for someone to pick up. And I've got a funny feeling it was because of happenstance that Laura crossed Ted. Because it says it got there the hangman, which usually means delays. So I wouldn't put it past it if Ted Bundy got held up somehow. Whether there was a traffic accident. I don't think Ted Bundy was involved in an accident, but there was an accident on the road. But something had delayed him. Something had slowed him down. And also I got a funny feeling as well. The feeling I've also got, I think he also prolonged the attack. It wasn't a quick attack, it was prolonged. Like he prolonged it. He enjoyed spreading it out, making it as long as possible, as painful as possible. And she dropped her guard. Like, she dropped her guard. And then when she was in his power, he attacked. But I think for a little while he had his persona. And on the other end, he was just covering this facade. Like, he was cunning. He was clever. He wanted her to go into a false sense of security. False sense of safety. And once she felt that, by the time she realised, hey, this is not right, something's not wrong, let me out, that's when Ted Bundy, attacked. And we've got the star in reverse, which usually means yes, which means obviously yes is no. There was no way of escape. That's what I'm feeling. Laura had no chance of escape. Once Ted Bundy had her, she was gone. The word I got was he was deflowering her. He was deflowering her. Which, I think it's SA. And he was known as... say this. And like he made her feel... how would you say? Give up hope. That everything was against her. There was no point of resisting. And her life, he took pleasure watching her life drain from her. That's what I got from those ones. This is very, very dark. Alright, money involved. Judgment, harsh sentence. Please find me. Evidence or statement. I think with the money involved is not to deal with the crime itself, directly, the actions of the crime. Ted Bundy wasn't motivated by money. However, I believe that this was at the end of his life. He tried to use Laura's case to gain him attraction. And even though it says here involving money, it wasn't involving money. There probably was money deals dealing with it. That there were newspapers, authors trying to make money from this case. But to me, also got calculations. This was a calculated move. And at the end of his life, he was using cases to prolong his life, saying, hey, if you give me a reprieve, I could tell you about this case, this case, this case, which is a known fact. Ted Bundy definitely did this. And I reckon this was one of the cases he was using. Like, if I give you Laura, you give me time. I can tell you more about Laura. I can tell you more about this victim, that victim. Because it's still going through victims. And also got a funny feeling with Ted Bundy. He believed that the punishment was way too harsh. He believed the death penalty was too harsh. He did not deserve the death penalty. That's what I feel like he believed. Which I am absolutely against. I think he got exactly what he deserved. But that's what he believed. And I got here, please find me. And I think for a long time, victims, not just Laura, been begging to be found. Begging to get reconciliation and have their cases closed. And I feel like you've got the candle there, well, I'm drawn to the candle. It's a bit like the candle is hope. That there's still hope that peace can come to the families. And you got to hear evidence and statements. They have got evidence, or DNA evidence, with Laura. And statement, once again, I think that these two cards are connected. Because of what happened at the end of his life. He sold cases to get a better outcome for himself. So he was giving statements. Alright, that's all I got here. We've got the Seven of Cups again in reverse. We got Three of Pentacles in reverse. And that's the way it's supposed to be. We got the King of Wands in reverse. And that's the way it's supposed to be. We've got a lot reverse. And the Page of Wands upright. I know he felt that everything was against him. That the world was against him. And he was chasing his tail. And that's getting really, really messed up, guys. But he believed that he was stoic, he was brave, he had plans, because this guy is carrying, scrolls and that. So to me, it's like planning. He planned everything. And also, it looks like he's searching for something as well. They're going on for the search. I think he was also fighting for control as well, but it went against him. I think once again this is at the end of the thing. Because it's the King of Wands, not the Queen. And also another thing what I see with the Pentacles as well is like he was the devil. Because I see the pentagram. But not the positive way, this is the negative way, this is the demonic way. He believed he was the devil. And it's mocking of the Trinity as well, because it's free. Mocking of the Trinity. He knew he was a very, very sick man, a very bad man. But he also felt like he was on a mission. He was on a mission to get rid of these girls. That he had the facade like, look at me, I am brave. I am injured, but look at me. Alright, that's where we got the Mystic Crime deck. Now this card just would not stay in, so this was over it. Attack. My choice. Secret tunnels. And team. I think that he went once again, on the attack. Towards Laura. And towards the world and towards women. He was like a rabid dog. I think once he was in that killing range, he was like a rabid dog. Just keeps going, attack, attack, attack. If he's in a dog attack, the dog would just keep going, they go into a feeding frenzy. And I think when he was attacking Laura, along with the other ones, he wasn't in a big frenzy. He was going, and he just keep going. And I just got something that came in my head. I don't know if this is it or I'm actually tuning into him. Because what I just got was shut up, B-I-T-C-H. That's what I got. Shut up, B-I-T-C-H. I don't know whether he was calling me that. Or whether he was calling Laura that. I wouldn't put it past it that he was calling her that. Because this was his choice. It was his decision. He chose whether they lived or died. He chose how to get them. And it says there's secret tunnels. I don't think there was anything to do with tunnels. But I wouldn't put it past him. He might be tunnel visioned as well. That, like, he was tunnel visioned. He was attracted to a certain type of women. And like I know in my younger years, I definitely would have fitted his victimology. I would have fitted long brown hair, parted in the middle, and they were the girls he was after. Thank goodness I'm in Australia, and thank goodness he died when I was very little. And I think people trying to find the truth. And they've got here team. Ted Bundy definitely wasn't worth a team. But to me, this wasn't anything to do with Bundy or to do with Laura. This is law enforcement. The team of investigators chasing after him. And like even now, they're chasing after him in these 6 feet under. Like, it's night time. He's gone, but we're still finding answers. We're still finding answers for the victims. Alright, cool. I'm just going to do just with the one card. With one of these, just one random one. With all of them. And then we're going to call it a break. Like the end of the reading, eh? Because it's very, very dark. I didn't expect it to be as dark as it is. Didn't expect something coming in there calling me a bitch. Or calling her a bitch. I shouldn't swear, sorry. Alright. Will there be more victims identified for... will there be more victims identified of Ted Bundy's? Will there be more victims identified with Ted Bundy? Alright. I was going to do one, but I got three. Three random ones. And close my eyes so I can't see what I'm doing. Will there be more victims identified of Ted Bundy's? Will there be more victims identified of Ted Bundy's? Will there be more victims identified of Ted Bundy's? Something different, guys. Oh, sure. Will there be more victims identified of Ted Bundy's? Will there be more victims identified of Ted Bundy's? Will there be more victims identified of Ted Bundy's? Sorry guys, one of these cards just had to go. Bye bye. Alright. Will more victims be identified of Ted Bundy's? Will there be more victims identified of Ted Bundy's? Will there be more victims identified of Ted Bundy's? So these were all random. There's only a free spread. Alright, let's see. We've got the Knight of Swords in reverse. We got the Six of Wands. We get the Two of Swords in reverse. Did not go to plan. For some reason I've gone through all of these, so this is why my guides wanted me to do it. Marks left behind. Come here. Heavy burden carried. The Lovers in reverse. That's the way it's supposed to be. The World in reverse. That's what it's supposed to be. The Nine of Swords. Lies. My family. Abusive violence. Right. Let's see what we've got. Because usually I go line by line, but for some reason I had to do all of them. So that's whether more victims will be found. And like we got the Six of Wands. And to me, like, this person who I'm seeing is very determined. And I think this is law enforcement. That they're very determined to find more victims. And usually with Two of Swords, it means you got a decision to make. Or a decision goes against them. Because we've got a couple of swords here. There's 3 cards with swords. I think with the law enforcement, they feel like they have no choice. They have a duty towards the victims to find more victims. Because people are wallowing in sorrow. And they want answers. Because, once again, I get that thing. Ted Bundy is a coward. Because the knights, they usually are noble. They're noble people. Noble, brave. Brave, not brave. I think with him, like, things aren't going to plan. He want to take these secrets to his grave. Ted Bundy don't want his victims to be known. And the police are burdened with the evidence. They are burdened with these cases. And they want to lighten the load. And they will find marks. They'll find evidence. And I got here the lovers in reverse. And I've got the thing that just came in there, deal with the devil. That what just got in her head. Deal with the devil, deal with the devil. And I think this was dealing with his connection. And also there's a thing here with the rose. If anyone knows the criminal history, the rose, the word rose is significant to Ted Bundy. That's his daughter's name. His daughter's name is Rose. And they're no longer together. Definitely no longer together. One, he's dead. Two, they actually parted ways when he was still alive. And I think the times are turning on Ted Bundy. That everything he kept hidden is coming to light. They're finding the truth. And to me, I see bars. With an iron of swords, I see bars. I don't think Bundy wants them to know. But I think the police are determined to cut red tape. So I've got the word, cut red tape. And I think they're trying to remove the lies around the case. Because everything what Ted Bundy had stated were all over the place. Some of it's factual, some of it wasn't. And they're trying to sort out the lies, which is truth. And it says here, the family, my family. And I think this probably say the family of law enforcement to bring them home. Because I see children, and I think they are the victims. The law enforcement are bringing them back home. Because these people have had a violent end. They had a violent end. Time for them to come home. Alright, if you like this reading, please, like and subscribe. Have a merry, happy Easter. I know Merry's more like Easter, more Christmas, sorry about that. And, yeah, so, I know Ted Bundy is an old case. And this is a new development in the case. So, yeah, leave your comments. What do you think about this new case? What do you think of Laura? I know they said on the news, on the American news, that if Ted Bundy was still alive, he would be getting the death penalty for her case. Alright. Have a great Easter, and blessed be.